all you YouTube metal cats? I'm Justin, and today I'm going to be showing you 10 more screaming techniques in addition to the other 11 that I showed you in my previous screaming video. If you have not watched my previous video, then I highly encourage you to go back and watch that video, because some of the techniques that I'm going to show you today rely on you having an understanding of those previous techniques. The purpose of this video is to give those metal vocalists who just can't quite get a hang of the typical kind of scream a second option. Just because you can't do the typical metal scream does not mean that your dreams as a metal vocalist need to be over. There are so many cool things that you can do with your voice, and I am going to show them to you. Disclaimer, I am not a professional vocal coach. These are just the techniques that I have picked up, and I think they sound cool. With that being said, I've been doing it for 10 years. I haven't hurt myself yet, so that's why I feel comfortable explaining these things to you. Number 1, gutturals. Honestly, I'm not that great at gutturals. It's just not the type of scream that I do. I understand how to do the technique, and I'm sure you guys can do it way better than me, but in case you don't know how, you're basically going to take a low scream, nothing fancy, just low scream, comes from the diaphragm, nothing special. You're gonna take that, place your tongue in a different area of your mouth, and change the shape of your lips. And that's literally all there is to it. You just fuck with your tongue and fuck with your lips, and you're gonna get that toilet bowl, water going into a drain, garbage disposal sound that you want. So you gotta play with it and kind of find that sweet spot that works for you. I like to kind of like stick my tongue, make this mad face, frenetic face, and then just low scream. Number 2, this scream is a really good scream to do if you just cannot get a grasp on like the cliche false chord or fry or whatever. Like this is great. This is a yell scream and it sounds so cool. The best way that I could describe it, like it just sounds like a pretentious prince. Well, my father told me that I'm the greatest vocalist in the world. Don't look at me like that, swine! And before you diss this scream, the singer from Gwar owned it.
And while we're at it, let's go nude to bed. Let's vaporize the oceans with glee.
So if you're interested, here's how you do it. You're gonna take your normal voice and you're just gonna project like completely from your chest. This is me normally speaking, and this is me heroically speaking. So you see how it's deeper. There's more like bass to it, and you can flow into it. You just you see how my shoulders kind of shift. It's just all from the chest. I would rip off this crown if I could, but it's branded itself to my skull. Felt cemented, my spirit was choked. The flames rusted, I smiled for you. So that was fun. That is a fun scream, but don't overthink it. Don't try to make it more than it needs to be. You don't need to do anything crazy with your diaphragm or anything like that. You're literally just projecting your normal speaking voice a little bit more than you would. This is my normal speaking voice. This is a little more projection. This is a little more projection. And this is as far as I need to go to get you to understand that I'm a supervillain. Mess with it. Good job. Number 3 is going to combine the whistle scream with the big-ass lizard scream and make this new velociraptor scream. You take that and you take that and you get that. It shouldn't work, but it does. Chest compression plus wind tunnel plus throat distortion equals looking out and confusing. I admire a mistake. because there's a lot of wiggle room around here to play with. If you just add a little bit of that throat distortion, you kind of end up with like a... But if you go full out and push as hard as you can, you get some really cool sounds like... Number 4. This scream is probably one of my favorite screams ever because it sounds so freaking cool. I've actually only heard one vocalist put it in his music, and that was the vocalist that I picked the technique up from. The band is called Fair to Midland. How can you not like that? It sounds so cool. So of course I had to figure out what he was doing because that scream is just so unique. So what you're gonna do to achieve this scream is you're gonna go back to my previous tutorial, wink wink, nudge nudge, and you're going to take the basic mid scream from that video, but you're going to make it bigger. And whoa, hold on, don't try it yet. I don't mean that you're going to scream more or that you're gonna add more, compression of the diaphragm. No. I mean that you are literally going to make the scream bigger. You got your normal mid scream, and then you got your Fair to Midland scream. Let's break it down to Funky Town. First thing you're gonna do is go up on your tiptoes. This is kind of like a psychological thing. It's like a placebo effect. You're making yourself feel bigger, so your scream is gonna become bigger. Next thing you're gonna do is arch your back. You wanna make your chest big. Ladies, you got boobies? Pop them. Pop them out like a hip hop star. Throw those shoulders back. Push your chest forward. Last thing I need you to do, this is the final step, okay? This is the icing on the cake. I need you to close your eyes, and I need you to go back in time in your mind, and I need you to imagine that you're in the Old West, okay? You're in the Old West, and you're one of them big old gold prospectors. Well, this town ain't big enough for the two of us. I was in north, I was in gold, but I decided to slit of the throat. I was outnumbered, all of me burned. It is a loud scream. There's a lot of projection, so if you're going to be recording, being back here is better so that you don't clip the mic. The other thing is, if you noticed, this is a very notey scream, if you know what I mean. Like, you can control the pitch of it. That's kind of what makes the scream cool, is you're able to kind of go up and down. If you just kind of stay on one level pitch and do it like monotone, you kind of sound more like a drill sergeant. Do I look like I'm playing around? Does this look like a game to you, Private? Whereas if instead you kind of play with the pitches, you get that like Texas Gold Prospector sound. Number 5. This is a scream that I would not recommend to anybody because you absolutely will fuck up your voice. It's like that lizard scream from my other tutorial, but so much harder on your vocal cords. It sounds cool under the right circumstances. The best way that I could describe this scream would be, you ever play League of Legends? You ever play Warwick before the remake?
It's only fun if they run.
And I probably like, Justin, metal bands don't do that.
Blood is an energy conductor. I am one of them. All I need is an outlet.
Yes, they do. So the way that you are going to produce this horrible sound, if you go back to my previous tutorial and watch the whole lizard scream thing, it's like that. It's straight from the throat, but you're gonna kind of go deeper. So instead of going, it's kind of like breathing out. But when you breathe out deep. So the trick is to be able to do that without just simply sighing. You want to be able to put words to it. You want it to sound
spooky.
And like the whistle scream, if you're going to be doing this scream in a recording or even live, I recommend doing it through a guitar amplifier because it just gives it that fullness that it kind of lacks by itself.
I had made a mistake. I had jumped to conclusion, and there was no escape.
I really don't have much else to say about that one. It's pretty straightforward. Just be careful. Okay? Okay. Number 6. This one, I guess, is kind of like number 2, but it's not as, like, villainous. The best way that I could describe this scream would be like, imagine like, I don't know, say you're afraid of spiders and you were just chilling and you look down and there was a spider like on your leg and you're just kind of like, ah! You know what I mean? So it seems weird when you do it by itself, but trust me, it sounds good in music. Off the top of my head, the only band that I could think of that does these vocals would be like La Dispute.
Can I still get into heaven if I kill myself? Can I still get into heaven?
So unlike pretty much all the other screams that I've showed you so far, this one is different. It doesn't come from your diaphragm, and it doesn't come from your chest, and it doesn't come from your throat. It comes from like your head. Like when you're doing this scream, you're going to feel it like in your face.
I would rip off this crown if I could, but it's branded itself to my skull. The cement in my spirit was choked. The flames rusted, I smiled for you.
This is also another good one if you're not like a screamer. Say your band wants some aggressive vocals, but you just cannot do the typical screams. This is a great go-to thing. It's aggressive still, you're yelling. And the cool thing about this scream and like number 2 is that it's very unlikely that you're going to hurt yourself doing these because it's your natural voice. You're just projecting a little more than usual. And if you want to practice this, just like number 2, you can build up to it. This is my normal speaking voice. This is projecting a little more.
This is doing the scream.
Number 7. Unfortunately, to be able to do this scream, you need to be able to do like a basic kind of mid-yell scream from my previous tutorial. That scream, that is like the core of this. We're basically going to take that scream and we're going to add on something else. And the only way that I can describe that something else, you ever see that movie Beetlejuice? Hold on, I got a card around here somewhere. Who do I gotta kill? You are literally going to take that Beetlejuice and polymerization it with that false chord. And together, the sound that these two noises create is essentially I don't know what it is. It sounds kind of like a goblin, I guess. Like a goblin. You know what I mean? Like this is a goblin scream. That's exactly what this is. This is a goblin scream.
I would rip off this crown if I could, but it branded itself to my skull. The cement in my spirit was choked. The flames rusted. I smiled for you.
I don't really have too many tips for this one. If you can do that mid-scream, then you're already in really good shape. We just need to get you to be able to do that Beetlejuice thing. So, the Beetlejuice thing. That's pretty much just this, like, muscle or whatever it is in your throat. You're just gonna kind of close it and flex it at the same time. Maybe the flexing is the closing. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. But if you watch, you can watch it move. I'm like 60 to 70% sure that this is the same technique that you use for that weird like throat singing stuff. When you take that Beetlejuice throat singing thing and fuse it with a mid scream, you get a Cradle of Filth goblin scream. Number 8. This technique kind of requires you to do a whistle scream, but it's not as high. It's more of like just coming out of your falsetto into the whistle register. It's not really like a it's more of a it's just crossing the threshold between those two. You are going to feel this kind of like in this area of your face. It's not really coming out of your diaphragm or chest or throat like it's like it's coming out of like it's your head. So you're gonna take that sound and then you're gonna add like a little bit of that like fry rasp to it. So when you fuse them together, you kind of get this like pterodactyl screech. There are a lot of Japanese metal bands that use this scream. Foreground Eclipse is one of them. This scream is one of those screams that sounds really crappy by itself, but if you layer it
with like a low scream in the background, it sounds pretty cool.
Why was it hard? Why was it cold? While I desire to sweat up the ground. Why was outnumbered? While I be burned.
This one could give you that itchy throat feeling. If you feel that, stop. That means you are doing it wrong. I'm not sure what you are doing wrong. All I can say is that it's probably either the amount of rasp or the type of rasp that you are adding to this scream. Number 9. This one is weird. It's not really a scream. It's more of a very bizarre yell. What's strange about it is it's a very complex technique because you're taking 3 different techniques and fusing them together, but it is not going to sound as cool as you think it's going to sound. So to start this technique, you kind of have to have an understanding of clean singing. You need to be able to take a clean chest voice and flex this muscle in your throat that is not the Beetlejuice muscle. It's a different muscle. And when you flex it, it kind of makes you sound like Kermit the Frog. And I know it sounds retarded, but when you sing it, it is actually a technique that professional opera tenors use to achieve that tenor sound. So if you can hit a clean note with that Kermit the Frog muscle activated, the final piece of the puzzle, believe it or not, to add that death clock rasp.
The spooky Halloween one.
When you fuse all 3 of these pieces together, you are left with... Not my best, I had sacrificed everything. I would not leave this place empty-handed again! It's really not the most powerful technique in the world. However, say that there were certain circumstances, like you were in a musical or something, where you could not just balls to the wall scream because it has to remain kid friendly. You can't scare the children. This is a technique that will still allow you to give your part that aggression, that like it's still gonna pack a punch without killing like the professionalism. Like I said, it's more of a clean singing technique, but I included it in this tutorial because say you were in a band and you literally cannot do any of these techniques, but for whatever reason you can do that one, do it. Like it's still more aggressive than normal singing. Number 10. This is going to be another complex scream because you're using 3 techniques at once. You're going to take that pretentious Prince scream, and you're going to take that why is there a spider in my lap scream, and you're going to take a piece of that yell scream that I taught you in my previous tutorial, and you are going to mix the 3 of them together in the blender of your vocal cords. The best way that I could describe this technique, have you ever seen the anime Yu Yu Hakusho? There is this character on that show named Kuwabara. That is the sound of this scream.
Spirit sword, grow longer!
Stop laughing, it's not funny. When you put this technique to work, it almost does a good job.
I wasn't loud, I wasn't cold. All I desire to slit up the throat. I was outnumbered, all of me burns. You're a machine.
Stop laughing. Don't knock it till you try it. So, because I ended my previous scream tutorial with a joke scream, we're gonna do that again. So I have one more for you. This one's just for fun. If you wanna do it in your music, go for it. It sounds pretty fun. I personally have not done this in music yet, but I might. It depends on the comments. It depends how well this scream is received. The best way that I can describe this scream that I'm about to show you, if you've ever played League of Legends, there's a character in it named Cho'Gath. So to do this scream, what you want to do is take like a basic low mid, like a but the secret to achieving the sound, first things first, your jaw needs to be able to do this. If your jaw can't do that, you might run into some issues. I don't know, because my jaw can do that. When you pull your jaw back, you just pull your lip up. like this. So it creates this distortion inside of your mouth. So when you go through the screen, I would rip off this crown in my head, but it's branded itself to my skull. No cement in my spirit was stone. It's trusted and smile and smooth.
And if you really want to be like a fucking weirdo with that scream, you can like wobble your tongue back and forth while doing this with your head, and you're just gonna get... Sorry folks, but that is all that I have for you today. Be safe, have fun with these techniques. In case you were interested, the song that I've been screaming over this entire time is called A Father's End. That's the name of the song, A Father's End. And I expect to see good creative things from this generation. So have fun and play with these, but please be careful. You only have one set of vocal cords, and if you hurt them, well, luckily you've got 22 techniques, so one of them is bound to still work. Hey, thank you for watching, and I'm Justin.
Signing off.